You stood in front of that mirror last night, pressed 2 fingers into your cheek, pinched the skin, let it go, and then you watched. You watched how slowly it moved back. If you are over 50 and you just recognized exactly what I'm describing, then after 15 years of treating women in clinical practice, I need to tell you something that every moisturizer company, every collagen supplement brand, and every aesthetic clinic is financially motivated to keep you from knowing. The problem is not what your skin has lost. It is what 3 specific foods are actively building inside it right now, hardening your collagen from the inside like caramel poured into an elastic band. That process has a clinical name, glycation. And if you do nothing, it spreads from the face down the neck into the décolletage and along the jaw within 18 months. The good news, and I mean this clinically, is that the reversal protocol starts in your kitchen, costs almost nothing, and requires 0 procedures. Now, before we go any further, I want you to do something for yourself right now. The severity of what I am about to show you changes drastically depending on whether you are 45, 55, or 65. And I mean that physiologically, not generally. Drop your age in the comments below. Not for me, for you. Because in about 4 minutes, I'm going to tell you exactly what glycation is doing inside your skin at your specific decade. And you are going to want to come back to this comment. And if this is your first time on this channel, hit subscribe right now so you do not miss the age-specific breakdown. It comes later in this video, and it will change how you think about every meal you eat before noon. Let me show you exactly what is happening inside your skin right now, because once you see this, you will never look at certain foods the same way again. Your skin is built on a scaffolding. That scaffolding is made of 2 proteins, collagen, which simply means the structural support fibers that give your skin its firmness, and elastin, which simply means the spring-like fibers that allow your skin to bounce back after movement. When you are young and your hormones are balanced, these fibers are supple, organized, and constantly being renewed. After 50, something changes, not just in quantity, but in chemistry. When sugar molecules from the food you eat enter your bloodstream faster than your cells can absorb them, those excess sugar molecules do not just float harmlessly away, they physically attach themselves to your collagen and elastin fibers in a process called glycation, which simply means sugar bonding permanently to protein. And the word permanently is doing a lot of work in that sentence. These bonds create what scientists call advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. AGEs simply means chemically locked, stiffened, cross-linked protein structures that your body cannot easily break down or renew. Think of your healthy collagen fibers as a brand new elastic waistband, springy, flexible, snapping back instantly when you stretch it. Now imagine soaking that waistband in liquid caramel and leaving it to dry overnight. The next morning, that waistband doesn't stretch, it doesn't snap back, it's rigid, it's brittle. And here is the critical part. No amount of cream, serum, or moisturizer applied to the outside of that waistband will uncaramelize what has hardened on the inside. That is exactly what is happening in your dermis, which simply means the deep, living layer of your skin beneath the surface. Right now, every single day, driven by 3 foods that most women in their 50s eat before lunchtime. Here is what makes this specifically worse after menopause. Your body has a natural enzyme system designed to clear glycated proteins. The primary clearing enzyme is called glyoxylase 1, which simply means the cellular janitor responsible for breaking down the earliest stage of age formation before it becomes permanent. Research published in the journal Aging Cell confirms that glyoxylase 1 activity declines significantly as estrogen levels fall. That means the same sugar load that your body could partially manage at 35 is now doing roughly 3 times the structural damage at 55, because your internal cleanup system has lost its most important activator. The cause is specific, the cause is identifiable, and crucially, the cause is correctable. That is the only good news I need to give you right now, because everything else in this video is the exact how. Root Factor 1, high fructose processed bread and white flour products. The first food that is cementing your skin shut is one that almost every woman I have ever treated considered harmless. In fact, most considered it the healthy choice on the table. I'm talking about white bread, white flour crackers, flour tortillas, and anything made with refined wheat flour. And I know what you're thinking right now. You're thinking, I barely eat bread. I switched to whole wheat years ago. Stay with me, because the mechanism here is not about bread specifically. It is about fructose, which simply means the specific type of sugar molecule that glycates collagen at a rate approximately 10 times faster than regular glucose, according to research from the University of South Carolina's Department of Pathology. 10 times faster. Let that sit for a second. Here is the biological path. Refined white flour products are digested almost instantly. They convert to glucose and fructose in the bloodstream within 15 to 20 minutes of eating. That rapid spike means there is a flood of sugar molecules circulating in your blood with nowhere to go, because after 50, insulin sensitivity, which simply means how efficiently your cells open up to absorb blood sugar, is already reduced by up to 30% compared to your 30s. So those sugar molecules stay in circulation longer. And longer circulation time means more contact time between sugar and collagen. More contact time means more caramel. More caramel means more rigidity in the fibers that are supposed to give your face its lift. This is why collagen supplements fail for so many women over 50. You are trying to pour new elastic fibers into a tissue bed that is still being actively caramelized 3 times a day. The new collagen gets locked into the same rigid structure within weeks. Why don't standard anti-aging creams address this? Because creams work at the surface, the epidermis, which simply means the outermost protective skin layer. And glycation damage lives in the dermis, which is 3 to 4 millimeters deeper than any topical product can penetrate. Here is the fix, and it costs less than $4 a week. Replace your refined bread products with genuine sourdough, not sourdough-flavored commercial bread, but real fermented sourdough made with a live culture. The fermentation process pre-digests a significant portion of the fructose content and lowers the glycemic response by up to 36% compared to standard white bread, according to data from the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition. 2 slices per day maximum. Eaten with a fat source, 1 teaspoon of olive oil or half an avocado, to further slow the sugar release into your bloodstream. That is one change. 2 slices. A fat alongside it, done every single day. And the next factor is one that will make you look at your oven very differently, because the problem isn't only what you eat, it is how you cook it. Root factor 2, dry heat cooked foods. This next factor is the one that surprises women the most in my practice because it has nothing to do with sugar content on a nutrition label, and yet it may be contributing more ages to your skin than anything else on this list. The factor is your cooking method. I can hear the thought right now. What does how I cook my food have to do with my skin? Here is the answer, and once you understand it, you cannot unknow it. The browning you see on roasted chicken, on toast, on baked cookies, on fried eggs with crispy edges, that golden brown color is called the Maillard reaction, which simply means the same chemical cross-linking process between sugars and proteins that happens inside your skin during glycation. You are looking at the same reaction. One happens in your oven, one happens in your dermis. And when you eat food that has already undergone this reaction, you are importing preformed ages directly into your body. A landmark study published in the Journal of the American Dietetic Association measured dietary age content across different cooking methods and found that dry heat cooking, baking, roasting, grilling, frying, produces up to 100 times more ages per serving than the same food prepared with moist heat, meaning poaching, steaming, or slow cooking with water. 100 times more. Same chicken breast, different pan. This is why women who eat clean, grilled salmon, roasted vegetables, baked chicken, are still seeing accelerated skin rigidity. The food is nutritious. The cooking method is building the cage. Current anti-aging advice fails here entirely because no supplement protocol accounts for dietary age load. You can take the best collagen peptide on the market, but if you are eating a daily dietary age load equivalent to what researchers classify as high glycotoxin intake, you are working against yourself at every meal. The solution is a 2-part shift. First, switch your primary cooking method for proteins to poaching or slow moist cooking at least 5 days out of 7. Poached eggs instead of fried, slow-cooked chicken instead of roasted, steamed fish instead of pan-seared until crispy. Second, when you do use dry heat, and I am not telling you to never roast a vegetable again, marinate your protein first in a mixture containing 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar per 200 grams of food. Research from Mount Sinai's Department of Geriatrics and Palliative Medicine demonstrated that acidic marinades reduce dietary age formation during cooking by up to 50%. The acidity interrupts the Maillard reaction before it can complete. 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar per 200 grams of protein every time you use the oven or grill. This one change alone, applied consistently for 4 weeks, can reduce your incoming dietary age load by roughly half. And that means your body's already strained clearing system has significantly less to fight. Now, if you found this information useful and you're realizing no one has ever explained this to you before, that is exactly why this channel exists. Subscribe if you haven't yet, because what's coming next about dairy is something that will permanently change what you put in your morning coffee. Root Factor 3, Sweetened Dairy Products. I want to ask you something personal. What did your breakfast look like this morning? Because if it included flavored yogurt, the kind marketed as light or low fat or high protein, or if it included flavored coffee creamer or a glass of any kind of sweetened milk product, then you had a glycation double hit before most people had even woken up. Here is why, and this is the part that shocks women most. Dairy contains a naturally occurring sugar called lactose, which simply means the milk sugar that your digestive system breaks into glucose and galactose during digestion. Galactose, specifically, is a sugar that glycates collagen at a rate that researchers have associated with accelerated tissue aging in multiple European population studies. But when you add the refined sugars that manufacturers pour into flavored yogurts and coffee creamers on top of the existing lactose, you now have a compounded glycation event happening simultaneously from two sugar sources hitting the same collagen fibers at the same time. The average flavored low-fat yogurt contains between 17 and 26 grams of added sugar per serving. That is the equivalent of eating 5 to 6 teaspoons of sugar in what most women believe is a health food. And because it is paired with dairy protein, which is digested relatively quickly, that sugar reaches the bloodstream fast, spikes insulin, and starts the glycation process on your collagen within 20 to 30 minutes of eating it. Standard nutrition advice says low-fat yogurt is good for you, and in isolation, the protein and calcium content are genuinely valuable. But the sugar payload in the flavored versions cancels the skin benefit entirely, which is why dermatological researchers increasingly distinguish between plain dairy and sweetened dairy as functionally opposite in their effects on skin aging. The fix is simple, inexpensive, and you will genuinely stop missing the flavored versions within 10 days. Switch to plain, full-fat Greek yogurt, no added sugar, no flavoring. Full-fat specifically because the fat slows gastric emptying, which simply means it slows how quickly the stomach releases food into the small intestine, which reduces the speed of sugar absorption and lowers the glycation spike. Add half a teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon, not cassia cinnamon, which is the common grocery store variety, but Ceylon cinnamon specifically, which is lighter in color and milder in flavor. Ceylon cinnamon activates a cellular pathway called AMPK, which simply means the metabolic switch that increases your cell's ability to absorb glucose before it can attach to collagen. A study from the journal Diabetes Care found that daily cinnamon consumption reduced fasting blood glucose markers, which directly correlates with reduced glycation activity, by up to 29% over a 40-day period. Half a teaspoon in your plain Greek yogurt every morning. For your coffee, replace sweetened creamer with 1 tablespoon of full-fat coconut cream and the same half teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon. Same principle, no sugar spike. The coconut fat carries flavor and slows absorption simultaneously. That is the third food. And before I give you the full 4-week protocol, I need to show you 2 more factors, because what I've covered so far is what you eat. What comes next is about what you drink and when. Root Factor 4, Commercial Fruit Juice. This one creates the most resistance in my practice, because it carries the longest history of being called healthy. And I understand that resistance completely, because we were all raised on it. Commercial fruit juice, including the bottles that say 100% natural, no added sugar, cold pressed, or freshly squeezed, is one of the most potent glycation triggers you can consume, and the reason is structural. When you eat a whole orange, the fiber in the pulp, the pith, and the membrane wraps around the fructose and slows its release into your bloodstream over 20 to 40 minutes. Your cells have time to absorb it. Your insulin response is moderate. The glycation window is narrow. When you drink orange juice, that fiber is gone. Every single fructose molecule from what would have taken 40 minutes to digest hits your bloodstream in under 5 minutes. A single 250 milliliter glass of orange juice, which is a standard small serving, contains the fructose equivalent of eating 4 to 5 whole oranges in one sitting. That concentrated fructose load creates what researchers call a glycation surge, a period where blood fructose levels are high enough to rapidly initiate age cross-linking in circulating proteins, including the collagen precursors traveling through your bloodstream toward your skin tissue. A 2017 study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that high dietary fructose intake, even from natural sources without added sugar, was independently associated with increased skin age accumulation measured by skin autofluorescence, which simply means a clinical technique that directly measures how much glycated protein has built up in the skin tissue itself. This is not about the vitamins in the juice. This is about the delivery mechanism. The vitamins remain, the fiber is gone. And without fiber, your collagen pays the price. Standard dietary advice says fruit is always better than processed food. And for whole fruit, that is correct. Juice is a different category entirely and should not be treated as equivalent. The solution costs nothing except one adjustment. Eat the whole fruit. Always with the skin or pith where edible. Apple with skin, orange with as much white pith as you can tolerate, pear with skin. If you genuinely prefer drinking something fruity in the morning, blend, do not juice, half a cup of frozen berries with 1 tablespoon of chia seeds and 200 milliliters of water. The chia seeds form a gel matrix in your gut, which physically traps and slows fructose absorption, reducing the glycation spike by an estimated 40% compared to juice, based on gel fiber absorption studies from the Journal of Nutrition. 1 tablespoon of chia seeds, half a cup of berries, blended, not juiced. Every morning you would have reached for that bottle. And the fifth factor is the one that most women haven't even thought to question, because they eat it believing it is the most innocent thing on their breakfast table. Root factor 5, ultra-processed breakfast cereals and instant oats with added sugar. Tell me if this morning looked anything like this. You woke up, you poured a bowl of cereal, maybe granola, maybe a bran flake variety with a health claim on the front of the box, maybe instant oatmeal from a flavored packet, added some milk, and felt good about starting your day with something that seemed light and nutritious. That bowl, depending on the brand, may have been the single highest age-generating meal you ate all day. Here is why. Commercial breakfast cereals and instant oats go through an industrial process called extrusion or puffing, which simply means the grain is forced through high heat and high pressure to create those familiar shapes and textures. This process is essentially an industrial dry heat Maillard reaction applied to the entire grain before it ever reaches your bowl. The cereal you are eating has already undergone the same caramelization process I described in your oven, but at temperatures and pressures that generate far higher age concentrations than home cooking ever could. Then you add milk, which contains lactose. Then many women add a drizzle of honey or a banana, both of which add additional fast-release fructose. The result is a triple-layered glycation event, preformed dietary ages from the grain processing, lactose from the milk, and fructose from the topping. All delivered to your bloodstream within 30 minutes of waking up, when your cortisol, which simply means your body's primary morning stress hormone, is already at its daily peak, and your insulin sensitivity is naturally at its lowest point of the day. Research from Tufts University's Human Nutrition Research Center found that dietary age intake in older women, particularly from processed grains consumed at breakfast, was significantly correlated with measurable increases in skin rigidity and reduced dermal hydration over a 2-year observation period. Commercial cereals fail as a skin-supportive food not because of their marketing, but because of how they are manufactured. The health claims on the box reflect the ingredient list before processing. They do not reflect what the processing does to those ingredients. The solution is steel-cut oats, not rolled, not instant, cooked slowly in water for 20 to 25 minutes on the stovetop. Moist heat, remember? The slow, water-based cooking method preserves the grain structure without triggering the Maillard reaction. Top with 1 tablespoon of raw walnuts, which provide omega-3 fatty acids that have been shown to reduce inflammatory age receptors on skin cells, and half a teaspoon of turmeric powder. Curcumin, which simply means the active anti-inflammatory compound in turmeric, has been demonstrated in laboratory studies published in the journal Glycoconjugate Journal to directly inhibit the molecular cross-linking step of age formation, essentially interrupting the caramel hardening process at the chemical bond level. Steel-cut oats, 20 to 25 minutes of moist cooking, 1 tablespoon of raw walnuts, half a teaspoon of turmeric. Every morning, you would have reached for a flavored packet. Now let's put all of this together into a system. Not a list of suggestions, but a week-by-week protocol that your body can actually respond to. Practical protocol. Everything I have just described only works as a system. Individual changes produce individual results. Stacked, consistent, sequential changes produce structural reversal. This is the 4-week protocol I would give a patient in my clinic, and it starts not with buying anything new, but with clearing out what is actively working against you. Week 1, the elimination. This week has one job. Remove the 5 glycation drivers from your kitchen and your daily routine. Morning. Go through your refrigerator and pantry and remove or finish, do not waste, flavored yogurt, commercial fruit juice, flavored coffee creamer, instant oat packets, and any commercial breakfast cereal. Replace them with your week 1 grocery list: plain full-fat Greek yogurt, Ceylon cinnamon, steel-cut oats, raw walnuts, turmeric powder, frozen berries, and chia seeds. Evening. Write down every food you ate today and identify which cooking method was used for each protein source. Circle every dry heat method. That is your baseline. You are not changing cooking yet. You are seeing it. Week 2, the anti-glycation kitchen stack. Morning. Every single morning this week begins with the same breakfast. 150 grams of plain full-fat Greek yogurt with half a teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon, eaten before any coffee or tea. This primes your AMPK pathway before your first glucose load of the day. Follow with your steel-cut oats prepared with 1 tablespoon of raw walnuts and half a teaspoon of turmeric. No flavored additions. Sweeten only with half a fresh fig or 3 whole blueberries if necessary. Coffee. Replace any sweetened creamer with 1 tablespoon of full-fat coconut cream. Add Ceylon cinnamon directly to your cup. Evening. Replace 1 dry heat protein meal with a poached or slow-cooked alternative. Poached eggs, poached salmon, or slow-cooked chicken thighs with a water-based broth. Begin the apple cider vinegar marinade practice for any protein you are still roasting or grilling. 1 tablespoon of ACV per 200 grams, minimum 20 minutes of marinating time before cooking. Week 3, cooking method transformation. Morning, same breakfast stack from week 2. Now add the juice replacement. Blend half a cup of frozen berries with 1 tablespoon of chia seeds and 200 milliliters of cold water every morning. Let the chia seeds sit for 3 minutes before drinking so the gel matrix forms properly. Evening. By week 3, at least 5 out of 7 evening protein meals should be moist heat. Keep a simple cooking log, not a calorie log, a method log. Right. Protein, cooking method, ACV yes or no. This takes 30 seconds and creates accountability without obsession. Whole fruit protocol. All fruit consumed this week is whole fruit only, with skin, eaten alongside 1 fat source. 4 walnuts, half an avocado, or 1 teaspoon of almond butter. Week 4, full system plus bonus technique. Morning, full breakfast stack, berry chia blend, Ceylon cinnamon and coffee. This is now a non-negotiable routine. Evening, bonus technique. Close your eating window by 7 p.m. every evening this week. This is not a weight loss protocol. This is a glyoxylase 1 activation window. Your body's primary age-clearing enzyme, glyoxylase 1, operates most efficiently during overnight cellular repair, but only when it is not competing with active digestion. A consistent 12-hour eating pause from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. allows your cellular janitorial system to run its full clearing cycle without interruption. No supplements, no special preparation, just a closed kitchen at 7 p.m. Research from the journal Cell Metabolism links time-restricted eating patterns of 12 hours or more with measurable improvements in glycated protein clearance within 4 weeks. By the end of week 4, you have eliminated the 5 primary glycation drivers, installed an anti-glycation kitchen stack at every meal, shifted your dominant cooking method, and activated your body's natural nightly clearing system. These elements are not 5 separate tips, they are one system, and a system compounds. Each element makes the others more effective. Now I want to get specific with you, because if you dropped your age in the comments earlier, this is the part you came back for. If you are in your 40s, your estrogen is declining but not yet gone. Your glyoxylase 1 enzyme is still partially active. The glycation process is beginning, but your intervention window is at its widest. Your priority this decade is elimination, cutting the 5 drivers before the damage layers become entrenched. If you are in your 50s, estrogen has dropped significantly. Glyoxylase 1 activity has declined by an estimated 40 to 60%, and existing age crosslinks are already affecting dermal thickness and recoil. You need the full 4-week system running simultaneously, not gradually. If you are in your 60s, the age burden is cumulative and the clearing mechanism is significantly reduced. Your most powerful tool this decade is the overnight fasting window, because it is the only intervention that directly activates your remaining glyoxylase 1 capacity without requiring pharmaceutical support. Drop your age in the comments right now. I am genuinely asking, because I calibrate the follow-up content on this channel based on which decade most of you are in. Your comment tells me where to go deeper next. And it takes 3 seconds. Let me bring this together clearly because I want you to leave this video with a complete picture, not a list of things to remember, but a system you can see as a whole. There are 5 root factors driving glycation-based skin hardening after 50. Factor 1, refined white flour and fructose-heavy bread products, replaced with genuine fermented sourdough, 2 slices per day, eaten with a fat source. Factor 2, dry heat cooking methods, replaced with moist heat for 5 out of 7 evening meals, with apple cider vinegar marinade for any remaining roasted or grilled proteins. Factor 3, sweetened dairy, replaced with plain, full-fat Greek yogurt and Ceylon cinnamon. 1 tablespoon of coconut cream and coffee. Factor 4, commercial fruit juice, replaced with whole fruit plus skin, or the blended berry and chia seed protocol each morning. Factor 5, ultra-processed breakfast cereals and instant oats, replaced with slow-cooked steel-cut oats topped with raw walnuts and turmeric. Together with the 7 p.m. eating window, these are not 5 separate changes. They are one unified system working on the same internal mechanism from 5 different angles simultaneously. That is what makes this a protocol rather than advice. One important clinical note before I close. If you are noticing skin changes accompanied by unusual fatigue, unexplained bruising, wounds that heal slowly, or persistent yellow or bronze tint to your skin, please seek clinical evaluation immediately. These can indicate glycation-related systemic processes that go beyond skin aesthetics and require direct medical assessment. The protocol in this video supports your body's natural function. It does not replace a clinical examination. No clinic will offer you what I just gave you, because there is no billing code for telling you to change your cooking method and swap your yogurt. There is no procedure to schedule, no product to sell, and no follow-up appointment required. That is precisely why this information does not come from a waiting room. This channel exists for one reason: to give women over 50 the clinical truth about what is happening inside their bodies in language that respects their intelligence and their time. I'm Dr. Name, with 15 years of clinical experience in women's aesthetics and skin health, and I want to leave you with this. What you felt when you pinched that skin in the mirror is not a flaw. It is your body sending you a signal. And now you know what that signal means and exactly what to do about it. If this video helped you see something differently today, please share it with one woman in your life who is standing in front of her own mirror asking the same questions. She deserves this information too. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Not for me, but so that the next woman who finds this channel finds it because you helped build it.